I'm at the beginning of this journey, but I am in control of my own destiny. I own this 100%. It's all on me, right? Like if we succeed, then I reap the rewards. If we fail, it's because, I just didn't have the moxie and the work ethic to get out there and do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the BLIP podcast, where we help agents build successful agencies. Today I am checking back in with Andrew Calloway from the Pin Oak Agency. Andrew switched from being a captive to an independent about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And so last month we did a show with him, just kind of like catching up from when he started in insurance, even before that, to why he switched from captive to independent. And now we're going to follow his journey this first 12 months. So we're checking back in with him right now. Andrew, thanks for joining me again, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been about a month since we chatted last, and things have certainly progressed in a positive direction. So look forward to sharing some updates with you and the rest of the folks who watch these.
Yeah, man. Well, so for those who didn't catch the first episode we did with you, can you just do a brief summary of kind of, you got started with your captive, you were there for however long, and then you just recently made the jump. Like, what struggles were you seeing or facing? What changes did you want to see happen? Why did you make that jump? All that kind of stuff. Can you just do a brief, catch everyone up?
Yeah, no problem. So I was a captive agent here in Illinois, licensed in Illinois and Missouri, so 2 states. I started my agency in January of 2016, so I was a captive agent for a little bit over 3.5 years. Went through the captive insurance companies, like extensive training for 7 months, learning their systems and all that, kind of ahead of that. Came from the outside in, so had a corporate background before I got into this and became an insurance entrepreneur. The first year or two were okay, but there were some things that I kind of saw the writing on the wall, right? And I'll just kind of give you the big 3 of why I decided to leave, right? One was an ownership perspective, right? So I really didn't own my book, and I really didn't own, the customer base. I think they had a lot of vernacular, the captive company, that would say, they don't ever call them your customers, or don't ever, they didn't want you to ever say that, right? Like, you get your hand slapped a little bit if you said my customers or my clients, right? They kind of saw you as a transactional person, right? Instead of a person that's in the advice business. So one was an ownership, thing. And with the ownership comes, the ability to be flexible and to really go where you want to go. So that was one big thing. 2 was probably the competitiveness, if I'm saying that right. Yep. When you just have one tool in your tool belt, if you don't fit in that box, then, you just got to tell folks, I'm sorry, right? Yep. And if you work to establish a relationship with someone, and, they like you, they like your agency, they like the level of service you provide, they want to stay with you, but something happens, maybe they, fall down a little bit and have an accident, or their credit score gets a little bit out of whack and gets a little wonky. If you don't have any other choices, then, the only thing you can tell them is, well, we're the greatest, we're the best. And you should stick with me, but you should pay, hundreds of dollars more per year, or, in some cases per month. Right. Yeah. And so again, the word's flexibility, but the flexibility and the optionality to have multiple carriers and to offer people multiple choices was very appealing to me. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so we're just now getting into that and learning what that's all about. But I can tell you, it has been a pleasant surprise. Right. Nice. And then the third thing is probably just, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm the kind of person that I really want to chart my own course. Right. And mm-hmm. I don't want to be so beholden to the management of an organization, maybe some of the problems that they're having in terms of, I would call it like maybe professional integrity, or the ability to do business in the way that people want to do it in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit, quite honestly, frustrating, right? That you had to kind of, stay inside some of these guardrails, which, I always did. But at the same time, I saw some friends who had left and did the independent thing. And it seemed like they had a lot more flexibility and just like things that seem simple, like e-signature, right?
Yeah.
We were never really allowed to do that in a real way. And now it's just so easy. You download a document, put in one that people need to sign, text it right to their phone, and boom, it comes back in 5 minutes. We were using stamps, right? Mailing stuff out, waiting for stuff
Yeah.
to come back, weeks at a time. So, a lot of reasons, but overall, it was just the right choice for me. I didn't want to wait too long because, the longer you let something fester, um, the longer you wish you would have done it. So I figured if I'm going to make the jump, I did some research, talked to some folks, you actually being one of them,
Yeah.
and decided this is the right thing to do. And then I think the last thing is, and this is kind of a no-brainer, is compensation, right? The compensation
Yeah.
is typically much more appealing with, in the independent world than it is in the captive world. So
Yeah. It's like 75% to 100% more, right?
yeah, I would say that it's 50 to 75, I would say. Like in some
50.
with some of the bonuses, and there's different vernacular people use, but some of the bonuses, it can be almost 100% more. So and we got one carrier right now that's paying us 22%, I
Mm-hmm.
think, on new homes. So that's nice, right?
That is
uh,
nice. Yeah.
so that's a lot different, but makes you want to place people with that carrier. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at. We started this journey on July 1st.
Yep.
So we made a clean move. There was no overlap. It was Our office closed on June 30th, and at midnight, I was no longer under contract with the captive agency. And then the next morning, we started furiously trying to work on getting things set up. So
Yeah. So last time we talked, you were in your first month and you were kind of going through some struggles, one of them being getting appointments. How's that going?
yeah, I think now we are in a really good position. It probably, to be honest, for people that are thinking about doing this, I would say kind of schedule a month and a half to 2 months to get, the carriers that you think you're going to get set up. Some of them move faster than others, right? But some of like the carrier sales reps, they put the information in, but the company's back office kind of moved, what I was gathering, kind of at their pace, right?
Yep.
So it wasn't so much that people were dragging their feet, that it was just that's their process, and it takes 4 to 6 weeks, right? Um, Others were, there's some things that I did wrong, right? Like, I mean, I'll be like, I dropped the ball on getting some paperwork to people when I just had too many balls in the air.
Yeah.
But now, probably at around August 15th or so, these appointments started rolling on. And now I think we have, if you think about it like a horse stable, we have runners that can go long, can go short. We're pretty well covered up in terms of carrier appointments, and I think we
Okay.
have a good mix. There's going to be a couple additional ones that come on in some specialty areas, like we're bringing on a farm carrier
Oh
that
yeah,
should
that makes
help
sense.
us, because we're in central Illinois, and a lot of farms around here and things like that.
Yep.
So that's going to start in September, but it's going to give us some time to start getting this personal lines business rolling, figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I guess the best thing is, it was slower than I expected, but once I got through it, I don't want to do it again, but I'm glad it's over with. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So
Yeah. And so, do you still have the same employee that started with you?
yeah, so I have a long-term employee. She
Nice.
was with me at the captive agency for about 3 years before we left. She started within the first year, and had some people come and go, but she's been kind of a solid contributor, and she's kind of learning everything with me. She's doing great, picking everything up, and we're meeting with all the carrier reps together, learning about the different aspects of their policies. Because if you're coming from the captive world, you had to know one homeowner's policy, right?
Yeah.
And you knew that pretty well, right? Now there's 4 or 5 different. They all they're all the same, but they got just small nuances that are different.
Yeah.
And really, there's some people that won't. They like here in the Midwest, right? Hail's a big thing, right? So there's some carriers that want to do a higher deductible on the hail loss, right? So just you have to know that and explain to the consumer that, hey, look, if you want this policy, it's really great, it's really comprehensive, but hail deductible on this is going to be 1%, and you got a $600,000 home, so we're looking at $6,000. Are you okay with that? It's still replacement cost, but it's going to be a little bit more deductible if and when that happens. So
Yep.
As we meet with them, we're getting more attuned to what people want and how people do business.
Yeah. Have you started doing any sort of marketing aside from the stuff you had going on prior, like those referral relationships that you already had in place? Is there anything outside of that? Like, have you started doing Facebook marketing, whatever, LinkedIn, however else you would do it?
Yeah, so not yet, but this week we're going to shoot some videos and start to get videos up. One of my team members, she's Hispanic, so we're going to do a Spanish insurance focused video, auto and home, personal lines focused. We had a lot of good success when we were at the captive doing things like that. They weren't videos, but they were just kind of like ads with her picture and saying call me if you need a quote, right? So
Sure.
I think the last one we ran, we spent $40 or $50 and got 800 actual like individual responses on it. Now
Wow.
the issue was the issue was we could never have any kind of landing page where we could capture client information.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get these people to like our page and then send them try to get them to give us their phone number so we could call them. So the pull through on that was pretty small, but we're going to run it now with a landing page and the ability to at least capture name, phone number, what do you want to quote on auto. And I think we should get good traction with that. And then we'll just kind of continue from there. But right now we have kind of our real supporters that have called us and said, hey, we're coming with you no matter what. So we're using those folks as our, to coin a better term, of guinea pigs, right? To figure out, what we're doing. They're a little more patient with us. They'll allow us to, to say, hey, we were going to put you with this carrier, but we realized now that, you're in an area that has a really crummy fire department. So, they won't take you. So we got to look at somebody else, right? Things that we're not used to. And the more we do that, the more we're going to learn and the more success we're going to have when we start meeting people that we never met before, right?
Yep, totally.
So, but yeah, we're getting going on that, Josh.
Nice. Any struggles or things that you weren't anticipating the second month?
The second month has been pretty good, man. Like, I guess there's a couple things that I don't completely understand yet. Is like, I was working on this a little bit today. We have an agency management system, and we have a rater. And I am, as we're writing these first few policies, right, I'm not exactly sure if I have everything set up right. The concept of downloads is kind of a new concept to me. So I'm trying to get that stuff set up. I don't know exactly if it works correctly yet, but we're going to figure it out. I mean, it can't be that difficult to get it set up. So we'll get it figured out and get it set up, and that's probably been the biggest technology issue. Just from I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. I've been more thinking about getting people quoted and trying to get them submitted. So
heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
So the first month you really didn't have an opportunity to really write any business, right? You're still getting appointments, doing that sort of thing. And that even trickled into the second month. How's this second month going numbers wise?
Yeah, I think so. From a numbers perspective, I think we'll end up the month of August with about 40,000 in written premium.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more, maybe a few dollars less, but that should be where
That's,
we kind of end up by the end of this month.
dude,
So,
that's great for a first
yeah,
month.
yeah, it's great.
How's your stress level right now? I'm sure that first month's probably pretty stressful, but now that you're kind of getting into the swing of it, like, how are you feeling?
So I will tell you, like, there is a certain level of stress that comes with a cash flow issue, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, walking away from an income and stepping into something that's uncertain and unknown, right, is really stressful, right? So
Yeah.
the first month we wrote, one policy, essentially in July,
Yep.
and it was a nice big policy, but one, right? Now that we know that we're going to get some money coming in, right? I
Yeah.
think at the end of this month, I think on the 28th or 30th, I need to actually check my account. I think there's one carrier that pays today. Um, Getting to know that like cash flow cycle,
Mm-hmm.
that's taken some of the stress off. But overall, just the overall idea that like I am ultimately, I'm at the beginning of this journey, but I am in control of my own destiny. I own
Yeah.
this 100%. It's all on me, right? Like
Yeah.
if we succeed, then I reap the rewards. If we fail, it's because I just didn't have the moxie and the work ethic to get out there and do it, right?
Yep.
So there's no excuses of, well, we're not competitive on rate, because guess what? There's somebody that's competitive on rate, right?
Yep.
There's nothing like that. So I mean, this month has been probably half the month. We've done a good amount of premium. So hopefully when we talk next, I mean, I'm hoping that when we talk at the end of September, I tell you that we did 100,000 in premium.
Yeah.
That's kind of my goal for September. So we'll see where we're at, but that's where we're at. And I mean, I would tell folks that are thinking about doing this, um, you got to do your homework, talk to people, reach out to people like, like Josh, like myself. There's other people in the industry that can kind of give you a heads up on the things, like the mistakes that I made, right? That maybe I would do different now. But ultimately, um, if you're at a point where you're questioning what you're doing with your captive agency, it's probably not a matter of, if you need to leave. It's just when, right?
Yep.
How fast can you get out of that captivity?
I
So,
think, yeah, I think
um,
you kind of at a certain point, if that's where you're going to end up, you kind of know, and then it is just a matter of when you're going to
right.
make it happen. So cool,
Yeah.
man,
So
dude.
it's been great.
Good. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for checking in. We'll continue to check in with you for 10 more months and follow your journey. So Andrew Calloway, Pin Oak Agency. Thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you next
All right.
month. Bye.
Take care.